record first. And
now the temperature has changed. I didn't put on my lipstick. Oh well.
oh.
All right. For those that are just coming in, just hang out for a second. We're gonna be where the event starts at 2. So in the meantime, I'm gonna launch a survey for you guys. So you can let us know you know who you are, where you're from. So it's gonna take me a minute to get together. So just hang tight.
I haven't even checked my work email.
There's not that much.
How you know? I did email Dow to see where he's at, so we can start our programs up again.
I haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah.
I've seen him.
Hey, Coley, could you make me? I just realized could you make me a co-host? I can't see the administrative part of this. I just realized.
Absolutely. I can also I'll launch the poll here too, and also
Okay, thank you. I appreciate.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, welcome to those of you that are joining us, have joined us. I've just launched the poll so we can get to know you a little bit. All right. And it is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, hello everyone, welcome in. On behalf of Library Makers, I would love to welcome you to Makerspaces for All, creating inclusive and accessible makerspaces. My name is Coley Mixon. I'm a member of the Library Makers events team. And if you didn't already know, I'll just give you a little brief intro as to what and who Library Makers are. So Library Makers, we're a community that connect and support library staff like you from all across the country in libraries big and small, who at different points in their maker journey, you might already have an active makerspace, you might be trying to set one up. So this is sort of the online community space for you to share your insights, your knowledge, your dreams, your frustrations, all of the above. And we always aim to create a safe and welcoming space for all sorts of library maker staff. So before we get started, if you haven't already, we do have a poll launched. So you can just tell us a little bit about you, where you're joining us from, maybe what type of makerspace you or library you work in, and then how you would describe sort of the community that your library serves. All of these help us just sort of understand, you know, who and how we can make library makers better for you all. So without further ado, this meeting and workshops being presented, but I'm going to pass it over to Natasha and Cammy, who are both here to share their expertise on knowledge on creating inclusion, belonging, and accessible makerspaces. So thank you all.
Hello. So my name is Natasha Payne-Brunson. I am the Teen and Digital Media Lab Supervisor at the Verona Area Library for Henrico County and Henrico, Virginia. I've been doing makerspace activities, art activities, for so long I don't even remember. But my sole purpose is to create atmospheres for all, provide art related programs for all. I do have an art education background, but of course I didn't go that route. I'm thankful I didn't, because I enjoy working in public libraries.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cammy Richards. I'm the Children's Services Supervisor at Varina Library in Henrico County Public Libraries. I work here with Natasha. I am the co-chair of the Virginia Library Association Makers Forum, and I've also been involved in Makerspaces for a long time. I've worked in Makerspaces in previous libraries that I've worked in, and I've also been making for a long time. I like to sew and cross stitch and cook a lot. So yeah, we're gonna do our presentation today. Let me see. Is it okay if I can share the presentation, please?
Yeah, it's not allowing us.
It's not letting me to.
Oh, so sorry about that. I know it's not letting me stop sharing my screen for some reason, but I just made you all a co-host.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
So please take over if it's.
There we
go. Thanks.
I think it's this.
Yeah.
That's not it. Just bear with me just 1 second. There we go. Nope, that's that. Nope, that's that.
I think it might have been the first one.
That was it?
Are you able to pull up the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
There we go. I don't know.
But I don't know if they can. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Can you all see the presentation?
I can see it.
Yeah.
No, I forgot that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So why this? Why now? So Henrico County is committed to accessibility and inclusion for all. So we have been receiving more parents of adults with disabilities here at the library based on my observation. And since I run a teen department too, I've been seeing folks coming in, especially with adult daycare groups, utilizing our space just for them to hang out. But we also been receiving requests from parents of adults with disabilities to participate in our teen programs. So we, wanted to make sure we created inclusive experience for them as well. But we also didn't want to take away from teens because they need their own social element as well. And we all know this, with tweens and teens, and that's a different story that we might bring up a little bit later. So we've been requesting for them, to come join our programs. And we will talk about this later of how both me and Cammy collaborate when it comes to cross-generational programming. We wanted to focus on equality and access since library serves across the lifespan, and makerspaces shouldn't be age or ability gated by default. And then some staff, including myself, shift the focus with positions. So I made my focus on mostly all age programs. Even though I manage a teen department, I've been doing teen programs for years. I'm just very fortunate where I can track away and focus on, adults who are, aging. There's a term for that now. Adults with disability, neurodivergent folks too, because we talk about being adaptable when it comes to programs. But not only that, but also training staff and making them feel comfortable when it comes to dealing with different learning abilities. And that's where my art education background comes into play too. And not only that, because I'm very passionate, because I have a family, even though I joke, my husband, he's probably on the spectrum too. I'm just teasing. But anyways, but I have an older child who is on the spectrum. And so that's how, when empathy and being compassionate with working with folks with all learning abilities come into play. And so that's why when it comes to customer service, it's very important to engage with all. And so we talk about outcomes, vision, skills, social connection, autonomy, and joy as well.
Here's just something I included. If you need information about ADA, something that I've always thought about for libraries is that ADA tends to be focused more on the physical aspects of the building, how wide the aisles are, do you have elevators, that type of thing. But something that falls under the Americans with Disabilities Act is that programs should fall under it as well. So any type of programs, any type of services, activities that you have should include some accommodations for what your patrons may need. And so this, I don't understand legal stuff, so I just included a little link to that act.
So defining disabilities, not all disabilities are visible, and we all should know that. It's better to talk about disabilities in the terms of abilities or skills. It's best to ask patron what language they prefer, and language with talking to patrons is very important too.
We had a training from our Virginia representative of the Down Syndrome Association, and she came and talked about how as long as you try and try to find out from their patrons how they prefer to be preferred, you're never there's no perfection. You may not get it 100% right, but as long as you try to find out how people prefer to be referred to, then that's great. You're taking bounds and showing empathy and showing acceptance. Just try to have conversations with your patrons and find out the best way of forms of identity they like to be referred to. Something that will come up later is that terms come and go. One thing about aging adults, that we used to call them as seniors, but now that we found out they don't prefer to be referred to as seniors. So that's something that we'll come up to as later. Just make sure you talk to your patrons and find out how they'd like to be preferred to.
Okay, focus programs for adults with developmental disabilities. So local programs, one location organized by library staff on site. And so prior, we presented this with our adult services coordinator. However, her schedule is busy, but we learned a lot from her, and we utilize her resources and her networks to bring programs to our community. So Fun for All Abilities is one of the activities too. So when it comes to system-wide programs, multiple location, and organized from the program librarian, next chapter book club, which we are going to be starting here. I don't know, in the fall maybe. We got to get training on that.
Yeah.
And Art for All Abilities too, where several nonprofit organizations come in and do art classes with the daycare groups. And we're also building like an emailing list to make the parents or other daycares aware. It's hard, like what we mentioned before, like the terminology and stuff, because certain places prefer to be called one thing and others, you can understand once you start talk to your community more. But it's, if you feel like you cannot do all the work, look, network and look in your surrounding communities to see if they can come in. And I know funding can be hard, but if you can put aside funding to get people to come in to do these specialized programs, or the nonprofit organizations that do stuff like this, you can really branch out and extend your offerings for many, many folks.
Yeah, so these are the names of really great programs that our library has been advertising and have been running successfully already.
So adults with disabilities and tween and teen programs. And so this is where, I had to figure things out when it comes to considerations of who can participate, because we don't want to exclude everyone or anyone, but we also want to create a space for those particular age groups to socialize with their peers. So when it comes to tweens and teen programs, which are designed for ages 9 to 18 with the focus of social growth and creativity with their peers connection. So our system does not have a dedicated space, teen space only, even though I run a teen space, but it is connected to the collaboration zone, which people of all ages can go and hang out. But across the way is our digital media lab, which I do all age programs in there as well. And my Makers lab is downstairs. So when it comes, right, we're in it. But when it comes to the teen space, since we have study rooms in that space, adults can still reserve the rooms. They can get on the computers if they want. So it's not like a complete, even though it's a teen area, it's not completely shut off to everyone. And then sometimes these programs for the programs I do here can be, they are rerun for a broader audience. So I may have programs dedicated for the teens and tweens. I don't do tween programs anymore. My staff does it, or she does. Cammy does it. I don't have patience for tweens anymore, but teens. But I would readapt programs just for the broader audience. And so with a lot of my art and maker lab programs, I have opened it up because my supervisor, who's the branch manager, she wants me to do more art related adult programs. And this is how we compromise. So I wouldn't have to do tweens and a lot of teen programs. And so that's how I go and adapt. So sometimes, I have to take something complicated away or think about the materials and tools being used in order to adapt and to grow. And so with adults with disabilities may request to join, but participants must not compromise when it comes to the teen and tween experience. And as I mentioned before, with us working close together, we have created cross-generational programs for more folks and families to be involved. So the teen experience versus inclusion, detention with protecting the teen space, which I spoke about briefly, appropriate options. So adults may observe with a caregiver when activities have a neutral cross-age appeal, like the Makerspace or technology or creative arts program, which I've done here. Staff can offer inclusive alternative through rerun programs, which I've done, and because it also helps without reinventing the wheel. And I always tell my staff, work smarter, not harder. And Makerspace workshop, which I've been doing more of, and focus on all ages opportunities, because if you survey your community, you will see that, the different age range and the age groups that come to programs, and learning how to adapt to provide the correct resources for the appropriate audience. So each request is evaluated individually, balancing inclusion with the development needs of tweens and teens, which I focus heavily on and train my staff on too, because, for those who work with tweens and teens, the tensions when it comes to the development of their brains and stuff. So we don't want the tweens to annoy the teens, or the teens feel like the program's too juvenile for them. So surveying is very important.
And something about programming from a children's services point of view, something I've been really talking to my staff about is that if they're interested in doing an all-age program from the children's department, it really truly has to be all ages. Even though everybody can do the craft, it has to have some sort of interest that ranges all age groups and make sure that there are different abilities offered as well.
And so this is an example of the teen and tween experience versus inclusion, providing an all-age family option. So Cammy and I work together closely on big parties. Even though I don't like Minecraft like that, that's Cammy's jam. But I will provide programs based on what the community is interested in. And so these are the two programs, and we just had one recently, the Build-a-thon. This past summer, in June, where it was super duper successful, just like our tween and teen party. And we also had a Mario Kart party too. And so I think about programs, where I can get as many flies with honey. And so spring break becomes very successful for families. And we do have folks with disability. They come to these programs too. And everybody is so pleasant with one another and with one another. And our numbers have, expanded. But not only that, when you work closely with other departments, things become greater. Even though there's expertise in certain things, you can still bounce off and utilize people's knowledge in order to incorporate something grand. Okay, so this is the partnership spotlight. Adult daycare and community provides how we partner. So we collaborate with the adult daycare centers for library visits and programs. So taking down contact for future programs, keep them in mind, creating passive activities, offering makerspace and technology demos for all ability. That's very important. This is being inclusive. I've done the introduction to the digital media lab. Since we have done Century Movies to include all. And this, bringing outreach story times. This is where Cammy comes into play as well. She also offers art and hands-on activities to partners. And make sure we provide accessible, meaningful, and fun learning experiences is very important. And adapt programs when possible, including rerun of the tween and teen activities. Is there something you want to add?
Yeah, so libraries are one of the last few third spaces where adult groups feel comfortable coming. So partnering with groups and get to know them a little bit and contacting them beforehand and creating a partnership with them is a great way to connect with this underserved community that we have, instead of just having them come and visit, actually engage with the adults that are in the group. It's been really great. Passion of mine has been providing story times, but I've always been interested in maker experiences, and we had this great opportunity to work together with a partner, and it's just been so fulfilling.
And so with the adult daycare in mind, I was a mentor to a supervisor of an adult daycare center in the county. And when we were talking, he was telling me he was taking the clients to another library system. And I'm like, we're down the road. Why are you not coming to us? This is their library too. And that's how we built our partnership with doing activities with his clients.
Here's some pictures.
And here's some pictures from was our first program we did with them. We adapted one of the programs I run here is the introduction to the digital media lab. We just surveyed and decided to get rid of it because we've been running it for 10 years. But this program I will still run for folks here and there because it introduces them to the type of equipment and software and other programs that we're doing in the digital media lab. And they had a ball. One person, she was really into using the camera. her name is Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
But she's the cheerleader of everything, and she took great pictures. But we spoke to the daycare supervisor about, what things they can do, being prepared to, knowing who has walkers, who may have wheelchairs, dexterity and things like that, in order to be prepared to see how we can work with them in order to provide a similar option when it comes to our advanced technology classes. Okay, so tailoring programs to create a better outcome. So this was a Makers program I was really excited about for my Hacking Adulthood program. I run that series for teens and young adults, where they were learning how to make soap. I had sample soaps. I wrote instructions and everything, and I set up for the program. I had a full registration, but it was with a daycare for teens. Well, not daycare, it's a program for teens. And I spoke to them about, hey, you took up most of the registration. I need to guarantee that you're going to be bringing these teens so you don't, take up all the slots. And they told me, yes, we'll let you know we need to cancel. The day of, I emailed them again, haven't heard from them, and they didn't show up. So I was hot. But, instead of just, crying, I said, well, I'm going to tailor this program for my audience that I know who's going to be there and going to appreciate the program. And so that's what I did. I contact the supervisor for the adult daycare center, and I scheduled for them to come and make soap.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the, as you see, my little beautiful setup that I've done. It was a lot of work. If you all made soap before, you understand the process and yes, they are pretty. The process and the setup, it can take up a lot of time. And so I did a small day creation program for them. And I believe we worked. Did we work together because they came to the children's department?
Yeah, we partnered in a way where I wasn't involved in the program, but I was helping with crowd control pretty much, where we broke up the group into two different groups and rotated. And so we entertained half the group
outside the Makerspace, because we also, depending on the space too, because our space, we have to, abide by the fire marshals code, capacity. We held activities outside of the room, and then they took turns. So not only did they make soap, they also did bath bombs too. So they had a wonderful spa day. And we adapted in order for them to, I had to simplify some things, but they managed to make some beautiful pieces. And also when it comes to adult daycare centers, make sure they have volunteers on hand too. So you do not run the program by yourself without no help. Because as reminding you, because you're dealing with people with all different abilities. So make sure they have enough volunteers on hand, because this you're providing a free service to them. So they have to meet you halfway to provide additional assistance. And then there's just more from this soap making.
They did a great job.
Yes, they did. And they made their bath bombs here. So, and you'll see on the slide, the picture on the top right, the different activities of them working outside of the lab while they wait to participate. All right, so adapting teen programs. So this is what I do. I do Teen Art Studio each month because of my art education background. And I think about different activities to keep them engaged. But not only that, because last year for our summer reading, we the focus was art. And so the art is my jam. And this is one of the samples where they did a doodling program with us. And so this is another one where I shared examples of different doodle artists just to get them inspired, different doodle styles. I had different types of markers because remember, thickness too is very important because of gripping and just providing different examples. And we did this program in my teen space, and I love my teen space because I can man a program while being on the desk at the same time. But you'll see, and we have study rooms in the middle of the teen space. So we utilize the study rooms too for them in case they want to step away because of sensory or noise factor too. Some folks like to work by themselves. So we provided a comfortable atmosphere, and we had music playing too, soft music playing. But they created murals for us because we also had an art show too at the end of summer reading.
All right, this is one of the programs that I ran with the group, and I started off with a Mad Libs, turning songs into a Mad Lib, and so that was a lot of that was like a fun activity to kind of get the word flowing in your brain. And then we made zines. So the technology component of zine making is that they made the physical zine, and then we were able to scan it and email their digital zine back to their group, and they could print it from home. And we also printed some here. So it was great. They had a great time, and we ended up with 3 wonderful zines that you see on the screen.
All right, you want to talk about this?
Yeah. So this is last year the theme was art. So for our summer reading kickoff, I've had this urge for a long time. I really wanted to change the space and into an interactive art exhibit in the manner of Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama. Please forgive me. So we actually changed this space into an interactive dot room, and staff put up white paper on the walls, as you can see, and on the tables and on furniture, and we just gave out dots all summer. So we had it for our kickoff. We threw out because the Makers Lab, you have to badge in order to unlock the door. So occasionally throughout the summer, we'll have kids, adults come in and put dots all over the room. We used dot stickers, cutouts, and also markers, and it was a lot of fun.
And this also shows an example of us working together to create an all-inclusive, programs for all types, all ages. And I think we are very proud of this.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, but it just shows that, folks working together of all ages and all abilities, creating like this wonderful exhibition for our summer reading finale.
And it was great to see the community working together. And I'm surprised there weren't a lot of mess ups.
Right. It was only a few, just a few.
Maybe one word.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really great time.
And as you see on the right bottom, that's one of the doodles that we exhibit too. They had a blast. So that's just another example of utilizing resources. And that doesn't cost that much too, to create engaging programs for your community. But not only that, they are learning as well, learning about different artists and skills.
Okay, so here's another one that I ran. In our department, we have various sizes of Lego. We have the standard Lego blocks, Duplo, which are a little bit bigger, and then Quattro, the really, really big ones. And for Chill Vibes, I just put on a playlist, and our participants had a great time building their Lego creations. And I had a few books out for inspiration, but really they just had a great time chatting and making Lego creations together. It was really fun.
And this is the engineering and art creativity part when it comes to STEAM programs too. So like Makers Lab programs, it's not just about technology, it's not just about art, but it's like a different, a whole realm of, fun and creative thinking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Cammy did the story time and I did the clay pot painting, which was a spring program. And she read a book evolved around the, flowers and pots. And they really enjoyed this program.
I started off with planting a garden and read them a quick story. And they enjoyed it. And we had a great time painting pots together.
And did you want to talk about accessibility?
One thing I wanted to point out, it's good to keep in mind the different needs of participants. So one of our participants, he uses a mobility aid to walk, and typically we have rolly chairs throughout the library, but we found out that the rolly chair felt too unstable for him to sit in, so we were able to, I've had some static chairs downstairs that don't move around too much, so I was able to grab one. So that's just something to be mindful of with your participants and find out what their needs are. And that was something we were happily able to accommodate.
So in creating an inclusive atmosphere in the teen department with passive activities, as I mentioned before, observing my community. And when the folks get dropped off in the teen department, they either sit up, sit on the computer or just hang out and they weren't reading. They were just hanging out. And so I had to rethink my space. And I was thinking about this anyway with being here for 10 years. I love my space. That's why I never left. But we're just rethinking of passive activities because, again, mentioning about dealing with teens just and depending on your community, and since we're not on a bus route, we're considered rural but suburban. It's kind of weird with us with our location because we are still growing. We came from a small branch. It was before my time. I was with another library system. To this to this grand building where we are still trying to get foot traffic. And I'm not complaining too much because it also gives me time to think about other programs and I create kits for the system too. But I was thinking about our space when it comes to passive activities because not everyone comes to the programs. And then a lot of times teens just want to do their own thing. And so I created a coloring nook. I've been making maker boxes and we will share all the resources with you all too. Maker boxes, because there's a story behind that as well, because our sister branch, which is under us, a smaller location on one service desk. I was also tasked to do teen programs over there. However, we weren't getting the teen audience. And so with me, I just felt like it was a waste of time with sending my staff to the smaller location because you have to build a rapport with the teens. And if they don't see a regular staff, they're not going to, be trusting or engaging. And so this is where, and we was getting more families coming to the program. So that location was more of a family and elder environment. And so I decided to come up with these maker boxes for passive activities for that location to have in case a teen comes in and wants something to do. Because sometimes, they may come in with their parents, once in a blue moon because they're not really walking distance too. But I wanted to create something in case they were, coming into the library to have some fun, engaging activities for them to do. And I incorporate that at my, for my department too. And so there's different example of boxes that we put together for maker-like activities for them to ask for and then just take and go sit down somewhere and do those activities. And so, and I created a gaming nook area that's very popular too. And I'm surprised all the pieces are still there. But this also gave an opportunity for the folks who coming from the daycares to come and utilizes those spots. And as well, I let them also game when kids are in school because I didn't want to compete, or create some type of confusion with the teens. So when the school sessions end, they can game during the mornings when they come. Let me see what else. But that's what you can think about if you have a space or think about activities for them to do while they're there instead of just sitting around. These are some options as well.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so Henrico County offers a lot of art-based programs for adults with developmental disabilities, and so one big program is Art on Wheels, or program partner, sorry, is Art on Wheels, but they also partner a lot with Henrico County Mental Health and Developmental Services, regional public and private day support, and individuals and families in the hour. So that's Art for All Abilities. It is an art program that is advertised at various locations throughout the county. So there's been a lot of projects that they've completed with Art for All Abilities. So they've made floral arrangements, different printmaking processes, quilt block colorings, and they made a community quilt. So those are a lot of ideas that have been completed for the in the Art for All Abilities program that's offered. So here's a few pictures taken from the Art for All Abilities programs. A couple of them have happened here at Verina. If you see the checkered background, those have taken place in our meeting room. So a lot of artists come out and work with adults with various disabilities in creating art. And so it's a great program that we offer throughout the county.
And so Arts for All Abilities is an art program for our adults with developmental disabilities. So what we learn, program success depends on meeting needs and building relationship. So communication, consistency, and familiarity is very important. And being inclusive system-wide. So scheduling and registration is very important. So because scheduling is based on the library's users' ability and concept of community engagement time. And when it comes to registration requirements, online versus direct contact, caregiver roles, as I mentioned before, and program descriptions indicating audience, clarifying expectations too is very important.
Absolutely. So here's some examples of our inclusive statements that are in our advertising. So this is in our published program guide and also language that we have on our website. Mostly we just ask that patrons contact us and let us as supervisors or managers know what type of accommodations they would need for their accessibility to attend the library or programs. And so having a statement accessible is very helpful to clearly communicate that to our patrons.
And it's also written in our program on, we use LibCal too, if you all are familiar with that, with our online registrations and bookings too, is written in there as well.
So here are just some sample program descriptions of within LibCal or within our program guide where patrons can read how we have the program written out and you can see how we advertise it. Oh, so we've had a lot of training offered system-wide, and it's something we're so thankful that our library system is supportive of making sure that everything is accessible for everyone. And so the latest training that we had a guest speaker, Amy Branham from the Virginia Down Syndrome Association. She used to work with us. She's awesome. She came and talked to us about being mindful of our spaces, of our programs, for patrons that have intellectual and or developmental disabilities. And we've also had a special interest group formed for people that run the Art for All Abilities or the Next Chapter Book Club. I do the adaptive story time, so story time for all abilities and for kids. And so we were able to get together and talk about what we're doing in those programs. And we were also we're able to have a communication about what we would like to see and what were some struggles that came up. We had a guest speaker from our local Parks and Rec, and that was also helpful to find out how somebody else within the county doing similar programs, doing similar services that we could talk to you about. And so it was great to just share communication with each other.
And so being inclusive system-wide, Accessible Makerspace starts with system-wide support. So you have to think about funding too, because think about your budget, see what your friends can provide if you have a friends group. Grants, see if you can get some grants. However, we cannot do grants here for some reason. But not, each library system operates differently. But funding is very important because when you're thinking about getting your accessible tools and equipment too, you got to figure out where's that money coming from. And when it comes to purchasing, and we found, which is very helpful, Blick's Art Materials, they even have a list of accessible materials that you can purchase from them. Michael's, once you learn what type of equipment you need, shop around is very important because remember, you've got a budget. We're, working with change here. Hobby Lobby and Amazon, because Amazon has everything pretty much.
Yeah.
And these are just some simple several items, examples of accessible items that we purchase and we have on stock for our patrons too.
Yeah, the accessibility items are relatively new. Our IDEA committee has purchased and disseminated items throughout different departments at all the libraries. So these are items that live on the floor or at a desk so that patrons can access them and use them for whatever needs they need them for. The sensory and fidget items, those are some of my fidgets that I have in story time, but I've also brought those out for when anybody needs an extra help. I've brought them out. It's not just for story time use. And the sensory resource kit, that's a kit that we actually keep in the children's department. It has things like noise canceling headphones, sunglasses, a weighted blanket, things to help any type of sensory seeking and sensory avoiding needs.
Right. And that's also what you have to consider, especially when it comes to maker programs, because, with sensitive to sensory issues, with hearing, or if they need to step away and, calm down a bit, because depending on the type of activities, something might trigger, and we just want to make sure we have the right resources. And remember, talking to the counselors or the supervisors of the groups that you're working with too.
That's why it's also great to have as many staff there that from the daycares as possible that they can provide. Not only can you help communicate beforehand, but it's great just to have extra support within the room.
It's almost like, when you're doing daycares for children too, in the same sense.
We do the same. Daycare providers can't leave the room for kids daycare.
So,
These are a lot of tools that you can consider. And of course, there's a whole lot more. But here are just some suggestions. So there's to help with fine motor skills. There's grips and cutting tools such as press down scissors that can help And for better ergonomics, there's grips, seating, and work surface adjustments such as cushions, slanted surfaces, easels. For stability, non-skid surfaces are weighted or wide bases on containers of liquids to prevent slippage or spills, especially when you're painting. For visibility, use high contrast colors, magnifiers, and additional portable light sources. With a lot of the web accessibility that's helping when, I don't know if sometimes we use slides for our programs, so it's good to kind of keep in mind different various visual adaptations. So if you have something that is being verbal, maybe also have a handout, something that's printed, or you can also show a video. If it's a video, make sure it has closed captioning. Just a lot of things to keep in mind depending on your audience. There's also finding tools that have adjustable parts and extenders can be helpful as well. Oh yeah. You have your quantitative data collection, and then you have your qualitative. Quantitative, you're taking your numbers, how many people that came, how often do you offer it. We like statistics, and we do report statistics to the state, so we like to make sure that we keep constant statistics of what programs we offer. And we do that for programs and for outreach as well.
All right, so we're going to be talking about makers for aging adults and crossover programs. And here are some examples from previous programs. And you'll see on the top middle part, our branch manager, Karima. She's a maker as well. She enjoys sewing, quilting, and she pretty much offered her services throughout the library system with her passion for quilting. And these programs been very popular. Oh, there she is on the bottom.
We've purchased looms, the Melissa and Doug looms. We've purchased those and have offered weaving courses. I helped her on the weaving one here, and she's also done it at different locations throughout the county.
And of course, we have to be in considerations about with aging adults as well, the type of materials they can use or need. But there's surprisingly, with a lot of the aging adults, they love to sew.
Yeah.
They love to sew. But still be mindful of, what other tools and resources you need for them. And you'll see more examples, close up of the loom and other fun activities too. And it brings a social environment too, because a lot of the aging adults, they want to be more social too. And just, think about other social elements when it comes to makers activities. And here's some examples of other programs that's been going on in the system, which are very popular. And this is from our sister branch too. As I mentioned before, knowing what your community wants. And since I mentioned before, it's families and aging adults, this series has been very popular. All right, so Universal Design for Learning, UDL, DL, and Makerspaces. So I adapted some of this based on the Universal Design, creating to create space where everyone can learn, create, and participate. Engagement is very important. Offer choices that reflect different skills, interests and skills. Representation, provide instructions through multiple formats, including visual, verbal, written, and hands-on demonstration. And also action and expressions. Allow participants to show their learning through a variety of creative methods. It's very important. And so why UDL matters, it helps library makerspace remove barriers, increase participation, and support learning of all ages, abilities, and background. And so the key takeaway is designed for ability from the beginning, so everyone has the opportunity to make, learn, and succeed And those are very strong, important factors when it comes to when we create our programs.
Yeah.
And so this is our new Makers Lab at Henrico. Isn't it beautiful?
It's so pretty.
And then I'll give you a little, here's a little tour that I put together. So the Makerspace. So this has been a passion of mine. It's still a work in progress because I'm still based on funding, as I mentioned before. I'm still getting more accessible materials for our groups and folks. I'm working on a mural. That's why I'm not sure you can see, but on this side, that's why it's blank because I'm working on a mural for that. I have to reconsider our flowers because they're warping because of the temperature. I did not leave that in consideration.
Yeah.
So they may have to come down and I have to spray something on it so they can stay and not wilt. But but this is a voice from the partners, Dow. He's a supervisor of the Cypress Enterprise, which I was his mentor. And he said the Verina library staff are wonderful. Why, thank you. They have so many different resources and they provide activities for our programs that everyone loves. Projects have varied from things like learning about digital photography to creating poetry zines to soap making. They do do a great job to meeting people at their ability levels and make sure that everyone can participate in some way. And the library itself is gorgeous. I love to brag. There are so many cozy spots to just sit and look at over the woods with a great book. It's a hidden gem, which it is, and hopefully the word will spread and will continue to grow. And one of the participants, Miss Rachel, and she loves it. She finds the library amazing, and there's a lot of stuff to do, which we try to make sure we provide as many opportunities for our community. And she loves making friends, which we mentioned that social element. And I'm doing stuff, given the opportunity to do things. And the library is sweet and pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this we shared this at at the conference.
But you all know about library makers.
Be involved.
If you're interested in sharing any ideas or brainstorming, you can scan the QR code and contribute to that and see if anybody else has contributed. I'll leave it up for like one more second. And then I think there's one more. Okay, and then we also have a Q&A if anybody had any questions. I'm going to exit out of this, maybe. Oh, there's a chat. Just scan the QR code, do the stop sharing. Oh, yeah, sorry.
And we can share the slides too.
Yes, we'll also share the slides. We found that adding a storytelling element has created highly rewarding experiences, not only as a way to connect with people with disabilities, all ages, but also providing a topic as we utilize the equipment in the makerspace for hands-on making sessions. That's awesome. That's great. And our library makerspace operates by appointment. Oh, that's cool. With patrons working one-on-one with a coach to learn how to safely use equipment. And currently youth ages 8 to 13 may make appointments on Saturdays, only with a caregiver. Oh, wow. Requirements help. Sewing. Oh. Do you think you could safely expand access by allowing 8 to 13-year-olds to make weekday appointments and 14 to 7-year-olds to attend without a caregiver?
I don't trust that, to be honest, because could be a lot of risk, and you have to have a staff on hand to make sure. Are you talking about attend without a caregiver, or do you run with the staff?
Volunteers are
okay. Yeah, it depends on your availability and especially guidance from the higher ups too.
Mm-hmm.
I just because with us with our admin, they risk management comes to mind all the time. So yeah, but also with our staff limitation too, because we don't have a lot of volunteers.
Yeah. I would definitely see about any type of like safety policy, or if you have any like a risk management, because our risk management is very opinionated.
Yeah, it's very. So it depends on the library system,
Mhm.
and that's why we cannot. We do not have a makerspace operated where a staff is not involved. We do pop-up programs in here now, and we created a make and mingle session too every other week. Do we have any other questions?
One more question. Okay. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
And we'll provide more resources too
Mm-hmm.
that we shared at the conference. All right.
From Loudoun County. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh, 4. That's awesome. Local Virginia Library.
Connect with us. You need to join the VLA Makerspace forum too.
Yeah. I can put I can send you the base camp. I'll do that after, because I won't. Sorry. Okay, here's a question. Okay. Do you think there could be issues with the different age groups?
Issues because this is what we talked about when it comes to. Are you talking about depending on having the maker space or maker lab open for them to utilize on their own, or are you talking about programs? Somebody else.
Utilizing it on their own.
Well, that is a universal question because it doesn't operate. We don't operate it like that here, so I wouldn't be able to, answer that question successfully. But maybe piggyback off of what everybody else is doing similar. Because I'm more so focused on the programming and providing the resources. And then I do, like with the adults and teen programs, I don't allow little kids in those programs, the younger kids. And I work with Cammy to, so she can offer similar stuff for the younger generations, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes,
that's great.
Always.
Yes, the libraries makers toolkit. I'm tired. It's a very helpful.
But
document.
it is, and that's another resource you all can use. That's on Library Makers. I heard from many people who have utilized it in order to plan out more programmings and getting their makers lab or makers space started.
Do you know of any other makerspaces that offer one-on-one?
Chesterfield, but also because we worked on a publication for the 5 problems of practice, there's going to be an in-depth conversation on the 27th. You'll see that on Library Makers. And you could be also networking with other folks or ask that question in general. You'll find the right people on Library Makers to provide, wisdom when it comes to that. Because, yeah, there's a difference between college versus public, too. Because I know Chesterfield, but I don't think they're on the Chesterfield Public Library. That's why I'm saying ask those questions on Library Makers, and you'll get more folks who can answer that question.
Oh, real quickly, Natasha, I'm just sharing the survey link for today's session because I know there's some people that are leaving or we're close to the end of 3 o'clock. So I'm just putting up there for anyone just to just fill that out when you get a chance and let us know what you thought of today's event, and as well as give us input on future events you want to see from Library Makers.
Thank you, but we're done unless people want to ask more questions. But you can also reach out to us too. But always utilize Library Makers as a resource to ask more questions.
Here are emails.
Thank you so much, Natasha and Cammy. We really appreciate you all sharing all the programs that you've done and, knowledge, wisdom, ideas, and excitements about making stuff with our communities. And I will just sort of echo that. Please, please, please put ideas, questions, dreams, jokes in the Library Makers sort of community forum, because there's so much knowledge between all the different brands and types of libraries that are all gathered there.
And with us, because we focus more on programming, we don't do, one-on-one, appointments or allow people to utilize our equipments without staff, So that's where other folks with those experiences should jump in.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming today. Okay, I got some hearts. Oh, thanks.
That's my first time seeing hearts.
Yeah, that's cute.
More hearts. Let me stop.